Before we start, one of the things that every Middle Eastern Arab or Jew knows is this: when a person talks fast and doesn't let you stop him, he's actually trying to confuse you so that you won't be able to ask about what he said at first, and that's what he does. Second thing, when a person throws what he calls facts to people who do not know the subject, when most of what he says no one can check it, is because there is no truth in what he says. All of this would have worked when the internet wasn't so good, but today we can go back and check everything you said. It amazes me that people who are against Israel do not notice that the broadcast they are on would not exist without Israeli inventions.
Look at just the risk of regional war, where we could have, this war very quickly. Never mind how difficult it is for the people of Gaza and the Israeli conscripts who are invading right now, by the way.
I don't care. They started it. You're all insane. They started it.
Is in Syria. And why are we in Syria? We're in Syria for Israel, right?
What the hell are you talking about? The U.S. entered Syria because of the Syrian oil pipeline. You will see that he will try to blame Israel for everything that happens in the Middle East, just like the terrorists.
And when Israel goes and does what they're doing in Gaza now, then our guys are at risk.
How the hell do these Jews dare to defend themselves? That's what you actually want to say.
Supporting Israel is not in the interests of the United States of America. It's not.
The MiG-21 was the most important Cold War aircraft.
Here are the top 7 Israeli inventions that changed warfare history. Number 7. Spike. Since World War II, soldiers have preferred to navigate the battlefield from within the safety of an armored vehicle. Today, next-gen anti-tank missiles, such as the Spike, are so effective and accurate that they have virtually turned tanks and armored vehicles into sitting ducks. The Spike was initially designed as an anti-tank missile, but because of its accuracy and effectiveness, they added an anti-personnel missile to the system as well. It has made attacking a target a much easier task, being deployed by a single soldier in only 30 seconds, while its advanced sensors can also be used as a recon tool to scope out targets. The latest generation of the missile can be shot from up to 32 kilometers from the ground and 50 kilometers from air. The Spike missile family has made the IDF's infantry units, helicopters, and vehicles a force to be reckoned with. Number 6. Iron Dome. What might be the most famous and important invention in Israeli history, the Iron Dome, is the achievement of years of development and testing. Creating the Iron Dome system took 4 years to develop and test. What was created is a mobile short-range air defense system that was designed to intercept and destroy short-range rockets and artillery shells fired from distances of up to 4 to 70 kilometers. Iron Dome serves as a virtual dome of protection over the whole country, intercepting rockets in the air before they reach their targets. Number 5. The Uzi. There isn't a lot to say about the Uzi that hasn't already been said. It is one of, if not the most iconic SMG in history. It is used around the world, has been in countless movies and video games, and is an icon of Israeli innovation, ingenuity, and survival. Today, the more advanced versions of the iconic submachine gun are still in use by the elite forces around the world. Its compact and ergonomic design made it ideal for operations in close quarters and confined spaces. The Uzi continues to be an icon of Israel's ingenuity. Number 4. Drones. Israel did not invent drones, but it has become one of the leading developers and exporters of drone technology in the world. It began developing its own advanced drone systems. Realizing that this will be the next step in warfare, Israel built some of the first ever operational reconnaissance drones, and in the 90s developed UAVs that can carry munitions as well. Since then, Israel has become one of the leaders of drone technology and innovation in the world. These Israeli companies are at the forefront of drone technology, working alongside the IDF to test and develop the fast-growing field. The high priority Israel has put on creating UAVs has put Israel not only on the forefront of the technology, but at the vanguard of the battlefield. Number 3. Emergency bandage. One of the most preventable causes of death in a battle or an emergency situation is a bleed-out from a non-fatal wound. This is where the emergency bandage, or better known as the Israeli bandage, is most critical. Invented in 1984 by a combat medic in training, The Israeli bandage is an effective elastic bandage that is designed to stop bleeding from traumatic hemorrhage wounds. It is so effective that the U.S. military and its Special Forces units have been using it for years. It has also been included in first aid kits for emergency forces and first responders in countless countries around the world. It was the first tactical bandage to be made in olive green rather than the traditional white in order to be less conspicuous when still on the battlefield. The Israeli bandage was created as an effective way to save lives. Number 2. Smash 2000. In a high-stress, complicated situation, a regular soldier needs to make a split-second decision and to hit a target and not a bystander. Smash is a high-tech system that can mount on almost any rifle. It uses AI, computer vision, and advanced algorithms to locate and highlight targets. Then, only when the target is in sight will it let the rifle fire. This system essentially gives its users aimbot-like abilities. The system has been in use in the IDF since 2018, and in 2022, after years of testing, it made its way into the U.S. military, where it has started being used operationally. The SMASH system is truly revolutionizing the modern warfighter, allowing regular infantry to lock onto targets with pinpoint accuracy. Number 1. Drone Dome. It creates a 360-degree field of surveillance and protection from small to mid-sized threats, as it is composed of an advanced sensor system along with electronic jammers and a high-powered laser to identify, then take down any incoming threat in any weather condition. The system's relatively small size and flexibility means it was designed to be placed almost anywhere, from the middle of a battlefield to an urban area. The Drone Dome is an effective and rapidly deployable answer to a new and ever-changing threat.
The Lavi Israel aircraft developed 1980s. The United States stopped Israel from continuing to create it by offering to give them more planes at a cheap price. America did not want a competition in the production of planes with Israel. America took the innovation of the plane and used them for their planes.
And not just the small number of inventions. The U.S. would not be strong in the world without these Israeli inventions and more, and this is not talking about the American inventions that are sent to Israel so that Israel can improve them. Of course, there are also the inventions that save lives in medicine and the cultivation of plants and vegetables, and as I said at the beginning, technology that everyone in the world uses, including you now on the broadcasting.
Our men pay a price in terms of their security in the Middle East every day because of Israel and what they do in Palestine. And in March of 2004, Sheikh Yassin, who was the founder of Hamas, who Israel had financed and helped for years to grow Hamas, he started moderating his position and trying to get along, so they assassinated him.
The militant Islamic group Hamas says it won't halt its armed struggle against Israel despite the release of its spiritual leader.
The settlers always have to be targeted, because if they aren't targeted, it means we accept the settlements.
That's what your good man did. Buses exploded, children, women, and old people died, and a lot were seriously injured, but you say he was good, therefore he was good. What about the attacks that were also carried out in other countries in the name of your good man?
And it was the Israeli assassination of the founder of Hamas that had helped to touch off that riot that killed those Blackwater guards, that then led to Bush, and maybe this is what Mattis was referring to. This led to Bush ordering James Mattis to go in there and clean them out. The first big battle of Fallujah in March of 2004 is what really kicked off the Sunni-based insurgency that killed 4,000 of our guys in Iraq War II. And it was because Israel assassinated their own former sock puppet. And this gets right to the neocons and the Israel lobby in the United States. Under the new pro-American installed and pro-Israeli installed regime. And that was Bush fighting for Iran's side in the war against his own friends, because that was what the neoconservatives thought would be good for Israel. We have to do a Palestinian state now. Now is the time. This is one of the main causes of terrorism against our country, is the Israelis' oppression of the Palestinians.
Why do you think the Palestinians have for so long, even going back to the founding of Israel, rejected a two-state solution. Even the one Bill Clinton proposed, I think in 92, that was really generous and pretty strong and would have given them a lot.
We're skipping around a lot here.
Sure,
but it was because 11% of the population were claiming to own half the land, more than half the land, and everyone else was going to have to get the hell out of the way.
What about all?
And again, when you lie, don't forget there is internet. The area in blue was given to the Jews, and the rest was given to the Arabs. Jerusalem will remain in the hands of the UN. The Arabs did not agree, and murdered hundreds of Jews who lived in the area. This was when the English ruled, so they murdered before Israel was a state.
But what happened was Israel made a secret deal with the king of Jordan that he would keep the West Bank. And then at the end of the war, they had Egypt keep the Gaza Strip, just so that the Palestinians could not have their state.
First of all, there has never been a Palestinian state. Just so you can learn real history.
Before Israel, there was a British mandate, not a Palestinian state. Before the British mandate, there was the Ottoman Empire, not a Palestinian state. Before the Ottoman Empire, it was the Islamic State of Mamluks of Egypt, not a Palestinian state. Before that, the Ayyubid Empire, not a Palestinian state. Before that, Frankish and Christian Kingdom of Jerusalem, not a Palestinian state. Before that, Umayyad and Fatimid empires, not a Palestinian state. Before that, Byzantine Empire, not a Palestinian state. Before that, Sassanid Empire, not a Palestinian state. Before that, there was a Byzantine Empire, not a Palestinian state. Before that, the Roman Empire, not a Palestinian state. Before that, the Jewish Hasmonean state, not a Palestinian state. Before that, Seleucid Empire, not a Palestinian state. Before that, the Empire of Alexander the Great, not a Palestinian state. Before that, the Persian Empire, not a Palestinian state. Before that, the Babylonian Empire, not a Palestinian state. Before that, the kingdoms of Israel and Judah, not a Palestinian state. Before that, the kingdom of Israel, not a Palestinian state. Before that, the theocracy of the 12 tribes of Israel, not a Palestinian state. Before that, an agglomeration of independent Canaanite city kingdoms, not a Palestinian state. Actually, in this piece of land, there has been everything except a Palestinian state.
For I will take you out of the nations. I will gather you from all the countries and bring you back into your own land.
Israel won the war, and they cleansed 750,000 Palestinians.
The fact that there are these refugees is the direct consequence of the act of the Arab states in opposing partition and the Jewish state. The Arab states agreed upon this policy unanimously, and they must share in the solution of the problem. Emil Guri, secretary of the Palestinian Arab Higher Committee, in an interview with the Beirut Telegraph September 6, 1948. It must not be forgotten that the Arab Higher Committee encouraged the refugees' flight from their homes in Jaffa, Haifa, and Jerusalem. Near East Arabic Broadcasting Station, Cyprus, April 3, 1949. The Arab states which had encouraged the Palestine Arabs to leave their homes temporarily in order to be out of the way of the Arab invasion armies have failed to keep their promise to help these refugees. The Jordanian daily newspaper Falastin, February 19, 1949.
In the sense that they created an 80-20 super-duper majority Jewish democracy. Israel won the war. The Palestinians, of course, had nothing to do with it. They were just stuck in the middle. But Israel beat Jordan and Egypt and Syria in that war. And
how dare you?
Were they kidnapped or they were let to stay where they lived?
Well, it's sort of the same thing in a...
No, it's not.
Because everybody has a country, and you just called them Palestinians, so they must be from the country called Palestine, right?
First of all, if what you want will happen to the Israelis, they will not have their own country. Now, again, there has never been a country or a people that has been called Palestine. Even the letter P does not exist in Arabic.
The origin of the Philistines is the island of Crete and the Aegean Sea area bounded by Athens, Corinth and Ephesus. Crete was their home seaport base for the sea-oriented people who were likely traders and raiders. Pirates.
They were white people.
let me literally answer the question instead of just going back and forth. If the Navajo Nation mounted a raid that killed 1,000 Americans, it's not some arbitrary question of carpet bombing them. It's a question of military capabilities, what we expect in terms of future actions against us, and what amounts to justice. I would be quite concerned with the carpet bomb on the Navajo reservation because they don't have support from Iran, or they don't have access to rockets. They're not produced. We're not being bombed by them consistently. Rockets aren't launching out of various areas. We don't need to do that. Yes, the Marshals and U.S. forces could go in there.
Yeah, but even if they were armed with rockets, I mean, look, we call them rockets because you don't dare call them missiles, because they're not real missiles, and they didn't get shipped from Iran. They made them out of water pipes, right? These are, barely amount to Katyusha rockets. And look at the history of Israel and Palestine here, where they've had problems with terrorism from the leftists, from the nationalists, from the Islamists, the whole time. And how do they handle it? They went in, they get them one at a time. It's only since Netanyahu that they do these massive bombing campaigns.
You just erased from history the Lebanon War and all the operations that Israel entered into the territories. And you're trying to teach us history? Asked Tim. If one of his neighbors started shooting at them, murdering friends and family, and there is no police to stop him, and he is not ready to stop, will Tim wipe him off the face of the earth with everyone in the house to save his family and friends? I will do it, and I won't even warn him before that. Let Joan Rivers, bless her memory, answer you.
No. Let me just tell you, if New Jersey were firing rockets into New York, we would wipe them out. I am so bored. If we heard they were digging tunnels from New Jersey to New York, we would get rid of Jersey.
Subscribe, like, and share.